So when I was a kid, I remember my parents had this ceramic vase. This like piece of pottery looked like a kid made it, maybe, or at least painted the pattern on top of it. It was shaped like an owl, and the little owl eyes and the beak were painted on the top, and the wings and feathers on the side, and these like tail feathers painted on the little ceramic pottery tail that it had. Um, like I said, it looked like a kid made it, a really talented kid, but a kid. In fact, I was like, "Who is this? Who is this kid that you're giving such a prominent display of his pottery?" Like, I know that ashtray I made was not like the greatest, kind of dog shit, but like, who's getting who's getting all this shine? I thought my being your actual child meant that, at least to use a pottery term that's big with the kids these days, I thought it meant you had to glaze me a bit.
Mm,
Yeah.
nice.
That's for our, yeah, thanks. That's for our younger demographic. But though some people might already be a bit ahead of me on this, wait up, wait your turn. A kid, of course, hadn't actually made this vase. It was one of a series of owl vases that Pablo Picasso had made.
Pablo Picasso.
Pablo Picasso.
Pablo Picasso.
You've heard the name a million times. You know the influence. You know he's one of the most important artists of the 20th century.
And not original. We weren't the freaking Rockefellers.
Jesus.
But yeah, I
I
know,
was about to
right?
say. That's awesome, man.
But a copy of an owl vase that was one of Picasso's famously, beautifully childlike designs. And I had to give it to this Picasso kid. I didn't know who he was at the time. It was undeniably beautiful. It was simple, but all the more beautiful because of that. I saw and appreciated the art in it. And at the time, I knew nothing about what a notorious asshole and legendarily mean-spirited misogynist this Picasso dude was. Just this undeniably beautiful piece of art. So, a while back, a good while back, on a show John and I were doing called Sunday Morning Soundtrack, we did this bit about reconciling great art from terrible people. In this instance, it was like the song. Uh, I went back and I checked for like
Oh,
what the first one was that we were talking about, and it
yeah.
was this song "Working Together" from Ike and Tina Turner. And
Oh.
yeah, yeah. And in that case, it struck me as kind of hilarious that this gorgeous, hopeful, inspiring, uh, aspirational song about what we can accomplish when we, pull together, was coming from this, again, legendarily abusive, deeply unhealthy relationship, chronicled in books and documentaries and award winning movies about how much of a controlling, predatorily grooming Ike Turner, for those who don't know, found Tina Turner at 17 years old and was this Svengali figure molding her, controlling her, ultimately marrying her, and ultimately abusing her a lot. But meanwhile, they made these timeless songs, this lasting, moving art together. So, in some respects, the song's right on the money. And though he's become, a punchline for his characterization as a famously hot tempered and manic wife abuser, I mean, literally, he was manic. Ike Turner was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, it turns out. But Ike Turner was also an extraordinarily talented guy. B.B. King said he was the best band leader he'd ever seen, and one of the founding fathers of rock and roll. Little Richard said he was the innovator for R&B and rock and roll. Little Richard also later said, "Shut up." Um,
Yes. And if you if you dispute that, then shut up.
Shut up. Um, and Prince said Ike Turner, Prince, who we'll talk about, Prince said Ike Turner was his first musical influence. And even the victim of his abuse, his wife and partner, Tina, said she was awed by his talents. So then we, based on Ike Turner's anthem of love and hope working together, we started saying about instances like this, we started saying, great art, terrible person, right? Hashtag great art, terrible person, John and I would say.
Mhm.
Great at making incredible, timeless, moving art, terrible at, being a human being. So, on this episode of SMS Presents, Great Art, Terrible People, we're going to look at exactly that phenomenon. In the modern era, we want to set about canceling anybody who does any shitty thing, challenges us to have to reconcile these two conflicting notions. Somebody who makes something we love, but then says and does things we hate.
Mhm.
When you're a kid, you want things to be, easy and simple and clean. good people, bad people, black and white. It just makes the world seem tidier, more straightforward, and easier to manage. But then maybe someone you love, parent, sibling, boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever, maybe that person does something bad or horrible or impossible to reconcile. And you got to hold both those feelings at the same time. I love this person, yet I am upset, betrayed, horrified, angry, saddened by this person.
Hmm.
That becomes your new, nuanced, complicated shades of gray normal, the real messy world we all live in, right?
Hmm.
So sometimes, some would argue most times, I'm not sure, great art comes from terrible people. John, when we used to do this, or when you you think of this idea, like are there are there artists or particular instances that like forever lodge in your brain?
Yeah, there's like the easy one,
Mhm,
and we're gonna talk about it today
mhm,
is Michael Jackson.
for
That's
sure.
yeah, you see that.
Yep,
And
100%
so
agree with
that's like that's the like, oh, the easy, because he
that.
was
Mhm,
so big and
mhm.
he was so odd, bad. Um,
Yeah,
some people might think there's one nothing wrong with him. I think there was lots wrong with him. And that's like the first, like
yeah,
that's the
yeah,
first one that
yeah,
comes to mind.
solid.
But then there's always like, there's that don't never meet your heroes
We will talk
phrase.
about exactly that as well, but yes, go on.
Yeah, like there is always that where you've built this person up in your head and then you're
Sure.
like, wow, they're not a nice person. Or man, what wait a minute.
Yeah.
Billy Joel did what? Like he wrote like so many hits.
Yeah, yeah.
He's the Uptown Girl guy. He can't
Uptown Girl guy.
leave a
Yeah.
a band member in a, in a strange country and not continue to bring him on tour. That's a bad thing. So yeah, I was funny when you were saying that. I was thinking about as a kid,
Yep.
we all have those where we're trying to reconcile it, and
Yeah,
maybe you start to make excuses. Maybe you start to
totally.
it's a coping. Well, yeah, they're my dad, but he
Yeah,
did this, or
yeah.
my mom said this, but it's my mom, or my
Mhm,
best friend said this. I remember for some reason,
mhm.
and this, maybe this is like just a part of like God bless my family, because I had a great childhood, and
Sure.
it was I didn't have a lot of like, yeah, my dad, he's got a mean right hand, but man, he makes when it's Sunday and he's making pancakes, like that's good times. Like it was never anything like that, thank God. But I remember being a kid and feeling like betrayed
Yep.
when like a sports team, like a
Oh, yeah.
guy, I was a big sports guy.
Yep.
Like if somebody like voluntarily left the team, and I'm like,
Mhm.
you don't leave the San Francisco 49ers, Jerry Rice. You don't continue your career. Joe Montana, or
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
I remember thinking like, I
That
don't know.
those were the betrayals, like, when you're
Yeah,
a
like
kid,
I
you're
don't
like,
know how I'm
"Just
going to
that."
recover from
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Like
Yeah, yeah.
seeing him in a different uniform, and
Sure.
he's like, "Kid, it's this is my job. Like, what do you
Yeah.
want me to do?" So, it's
But
funny.
that
Like I put a lot of weight and like that's a terrible person. That's a
yeah.
and he's like, and they're not at all. Like they're
Well
great people.
well, again, like, you could do one could do a whole separate episode on athletes and the kind of, like, if you folded in athletes into this discussion, you would run out of
Oh,
breath and air before, like
there's not
yeah,
enough megabytes on
no.
the internet to talk about that.
Yeah.
When I was a kid too, this it reminded me of. I think the most on the nose of it was when a wrestler turned heel,
Oh,
like when he
sure.
became a bad guy,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like when Hulk
Hulk
Hogan
Hogan darkened his beard or whatever.
darkened the spots on his cheek. And I was like, "What, Hollywood? No, he can't turn his back on Sting or whatever." Like that was like a shocking thing,
Sure. Yeah,
which
yeah.
they obviously in their infinite wisdom in the
Mhm.
heyday of wrestling
Sure.
understood that as humans, we have to reconcile that
Yeah.
in our heads, and that's a common thing. It wasn't a foreign thing that people fled from,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I'm so excited to talk about all of it.
Well, that's it, which is like we're going to get into it but like as we just mentioned, like they're the ones that even pop into our head and I'll say this again probably later, we'll never list every single one, but for some person out there there's like, either because as you said, they met their hero and they were a complete dick or douche to them personally, or that they had this deep, intimate, kind of important foundational connection to this artist, and then they found out some stuff, and like you have to reconcile those things. So on this episode of SMS Presents, that's what we're gonna dig into. Let's get deep in the doo doo. It's great art, terrible people.
What you know about doo-doo shit? He's in freeze when it rains at your bud. That shit sounds
So
just
let's
like
do a
me.
super quick primer for those people out there who might word police us.
Sure.
We're going to keep saying terrible person in the course of describing the great art
Yeah.
of terrible people.
Yep.
But what does terrible actually mean in this context? Ivan the Terrible, one of the most famously terrible people from history. It's right there in the name. He was the first Tsar of Russia and a
Yep.
pretty famously cruel and punishing dude, and a notoriously bad dad.
Worst dads in history.
Like really bad. Once cracked his own son's skull, killing his son by hitting him with a scepter or a staff, and as a result of it, an hour or two later, brought about the miscarriage of a grandchild from that son's wife.
Huh, that's pretty bad. Dad.
Bad. Yeah, pretty
Bad dad.
pretty on the pantheon.
Worst dads in history.
Bad dad. Like he's up there, and just generally stabbed, burned, and murdered a lot of folks.
Yeah.
That's the name Ivan the Terrible. Bad.
Sure. Yeah.
So we can safely say terrible person.
Yep.
But Ivan the Terrible, Stalin, Mao, Hitler, John Wayne Gacy, what did all these legit historically terrible people have in common? Not one of them, not a single one, ever put out a timeless pop record.
That's true.
Not one catchy danceable jam you're
Very
super
true.
excited to hear when it comes to on the radio. Turn it up, baby. It's the Fuhrer. I love this song.
My name is Adolf. I'm on the mic. I'm gonna hip you to the story of the new Third Reich.
Not one great comedy special or movie people love watching and rewatching. Stalin's hour-long HBO his stand-up special was like mediocre at best.
What is the deal with people who do not agree with me? I killed them and then their family.
So look, the point is we're not comparing these terrible people who made great art to history's greatest monsters. Because if Hitler had made great art, or even just a few girls had told him, "Oh, Hitler, your paintings are so sexy. Please come to my cool party with cool arty friends, etc." Okay, maybe he wouldn't have been such a historically terrible person.
Don't be stupid, be a smarty. Come on, join the Nazi party.
Maybe somebody could, or very possibly has, done a whole series, documentaries, whatever, where each artist is given an entire episode or a series of episodes on these iconic, unavoidable, big kahuna level musical artists or artists in general who are challenging or problematic or potentially bad human beings. And though I don't know that we need to put them into tiers or substrata, this first chunk I'm actually calling But Billie Jean, though. So like to give you a context, to give you context, when the Michael Jackson documentary Leaving Neverland came out in 2019, I remember sitting with some people and we were discussing it. It was like the subject of a lot of conversations at the time, right? And one of the people we were sitting with happened to work for a radio station, like to do with programming and like what songs get played and whatever. And someone else said, I think she said something to the effect of like, for what it seems like he did to those children, to kids, I don't think I can ever forgive Michael Jackson, or enjoy his music again. And the radio station guy just waited a beat in the silence and said, "Yeah, but Billie Jean though." You know what I mean? And
it's
like,
true that's all you need to say.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
but that song
Yeah.
is so great.
Yeah. What you gonna do about that? It's like, so at his zenith, which was probably the Thriller record in 1982, with the aforementioned Billie Jean and Beat It and the title track Thriller, Michael Jackson was about as big and influential as an artist can get.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson, the king of pop.
You know, the spangly glove, the jackets. Did you have one of those jackets? Did you have Michael Jackson like costuming or things that you wore? Or
No,
did?
but I was a pretty creative kid, and like I had an older sister, and she was like kind of tomboyish when she was younger. So like there would be things that I could like steal or repurpose.
Sure.
And I think I would like just, I prefer that. Like I prefer rather than like my parents being like, here's the glove and the jacket. Like I'd be like, get a red something.
Sure.
And then like glue a collar onto it or
Yep.
something like that. Like make a version of
Nice.
it. I always liked that.
Nice.
Like you could make a glove out of tin foil and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it would be sparkly.
Yeah,
Stuff
yeah,
like that.
for
Yeah,
sure.
things like that.
Sure. And one of those oyster shucking gloves or like the chainmail glove or whatever. If you happen to
Yeah.
have one of those or your big oyster shucking household.
Huge. Well, we grew up on a boat. Like it was
That's
it was the
right.
family trade.
That's for those Quahog and Rhode Island Michael Jackson fans or whatever. They're like, they all have the oyster shucking glove, and they were like, just like moonwalking to their deadliest catch boat.
Oh, I bet that killed on Monday morning after that Grammys or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Look at me, hee hee." And they're like, "Oh, good one, Terry, good one."
So yeah, the spangly jackets, as we just talked about, the looks, the jackets, the hats, the moonwalk. It's nearly impossible to relate to someone who wasn't necessarily there just how impactful this dude was. And though he died at 50 years old in 2009, he had a
God, he was only 50.
yeah, dude. He was only 50.
Dude, like that's
But the
iconic.
reason why you think he was older is because he had a 40+ year career because he
That's
started
true.
as a performer and as a public figure at 6 years old. His first public performance was at 6 years old, and that doesn't include or factor in the practicing, the military like Joe Jackson run kind of practicing and regimented kind of scare tactics and abuse that went into creating the well-honed Jackson 5 machine. But yeah, at 6 years old was his first public appearance with his family band, the Jackson 5. And I only bring it up to underscore, not necessarily excuse, but to highlight what's true for a lot of these artists, sometimes all of them. They never really learned how to be people. Like I keep saying, like great art, I will keep saying great art, terrible person. Like Michael Jackson is a perfect example of this, of like, he never really learned how to be a person. Like, not really. He learned how to do the moonwalk and do all these choreographed dances and hit unbelievable notes and like be a kind of incredible, supernova of a performer and all of these things, but he never really learned how to be a person.
When you grow up, as I did, in front of 100 million people since the age of 5, you're automatically different.
In order to cultivate their artistry, we're talking about these folks, usually they're sheltered and separated from normalcy. And for Jacko, that started at age 5 or 6, and frankly, it never stopped. His defenders, so like for every artist that we bring up on this show, there will be people still to this day who are staunch defenders because they cannot and will not separate and release Michael Jackson's stuff from their heart, from themselves. So like they do not want to engage with all this.
Leave Michael alone. He didn't do anything to you.
His defenders, who are legion and persist to this day, cite the fact that Michael Jackson, as I just said, never had a childhood. And that, along with the abuse and the trauma from his dad, Joe Jackson, who, but like that's maybe reason why his obsession with kids and with childhood. And while others would say that like a trauma that freezes or arrests your development at some stage in life, they say that about trauma, Michael Jackson was actually frozen in childhood. And it's actually the only life stage he had, would be the analysis for maybe some. And that all fully checks out because, like, if you gave a child a credit card with like infinite money or zero spending limit, you would probably get Michael Jackson's spending patterns.
Michael Jackson's spending patterns don't make him a terrible person. It's not just like a list of serial killer monster type items he'd be putting in his cart as he's walking the aisles at old Walmart, Ooh, value pack of zip ties and restraints, bulk jug of ether, shovel for digging shallow graves, Kid Rock CD? No, it's more like Michael Jackson's spending pattern is what you would look like if you gave a child a credit card with no spending limit.
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of like that bit in the movie Big where Tom Hanks, who's a child trapped in a man's body,
Yep.
he gets money and then fills his apartment with arcade games and trampolines and unlimited candy and junk and food and toys.
$187?
And then that grown woman sleeps with him, and then she finds out he's a child at the end.
Sure.
Kind of the same deal.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson, like a kid with a bottomless checkbook, used his money to buy increasingly crazy things. I mean, just because he could.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, he
Sure.
has so much money. It's like,
Yeah. What do you do with infinite money?
yeah, what do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you do with infinite money?
Yeah.
Well, and what it starts to demonstrate is a portrait of the type of person where people from the outside looking in increasingly come to believe that he's just incomprehensibly weird
Yeah.
and capable of almost anything, to the point where all of the sketchy and upsetting stories and rumors around Michael Jackson became impossible to distinguish from what was actually true. It becomes impossible to separate the truth from the stories.
Sure.
So, with a few disputed items, we're going to do a super fast speed run through the things that Michael Jackson reportedly spent money on that contribute to our collective image of him as a legendary weird dude
Sure.
who, could actually afford to be.
Yeah, yeah.
So, maybe most notably, a palatial mansion and expansive ranch property where he built what amounted to his own amusement park, an arcade, mini train station, a zoo, fittingly called Neverland Ranch, a
Sure.
place where Peter Pan and his lost children need never grow up.
Sure. Where you can wear short shorts and tights and in comfort and freedom or whatever, like all children want to do. Yeah. Neverland.
Sounds like a dream.
Yeah.
A host of life-size movie characters from his favorite fantasy films,
Sure.
like a life-size Superman,
Mhm.
Spider-Man, Batman, a Boba Fett, a Darth Vader, a Bruce Lee, an actual real Yoda,
A Bruce Lee.
E.T., the aforementioned Peter Pan,
Yep.
and literal millions of dollars worth of bronze statues depicting children playing on swings, riding tandem bicycles, stopping to giggle and touch their sides with laughter, playing leapfrog and ring around the rosy, and generally frozen in mid-frolic.
It sounds like a nightmare scene. Like if there was like a Medusa in like ancient Greece that just froze, man, and
Yes.
you saw their horror images, except this, but with children, just like just like a sea
Yeah.
of children frozen in fear. It sounds like that.
Yeah, and then for him to admire every day.
Yeah.
He
sure.
kind of very much sounds like what's the collector, whatever, in the Marvel films.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, where he
good
just
call.
like has this giant warehouse of
Yeah, yeah.
stuff that's all weird.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, very much Michael Jackson.
Benicio, just like here,
Yeah.
the
Yes.
the stone. Yeah.
Howard the Duck, like, in just a glass case. So Jackson bought an automated fortune teller machine.
Sure.
Speaking of the movie Big, it was pretty much exactly like the Zoltar machine, except any wish a kid made, it spat out a printed card that just read, "Aren't you feeling hot? Wouldn't you like to take your shirt off? Maybe play shirts and skins basketball with Michael."
Send me a shirtless picture.
Sure.
Allegedly.
Yeah, yeah. Just open-ended suggestions for good
Yes.
good times.
They're like, man, what a very specific answer, Zoltar. He purchased multiple gold thrones,
Sure.
crowns, and royal scepters, custom crown jewels for the king of pop.
Yeah, sure. He's a king. He's the king of pop. And we need people to know that.
For his zoo,
Yep.
he purchased many multiples of rare exotic animals: giraffes, zebras, hippos, tigers. The tigers were actually named Thriller and Sabu.
Okay.
And antelopes, flamingos, ostriches, cranes, and many others. But maybe most famously, Michael owned several monkeys and chimpanzees. The first and most famous of his pet chimps was named Bubbles, who
Mhm.
slept in a crib in Michael's room, was dressed in matching, often ornate outfits, ate at the dining table with the other guests, was allowed as much candy and snacks as he wanted at the Neverland movie theater,
Sure.
and used Michael's toilet when he wanted.
It was the 80s.
Bubbles likes what he likes.
He also wrote a book. I mean, he didn't write a book, but somebody wrote like a book from Bubbles' perspective about like his full time as a child growing up at Neverland or whatever. There's a book out. Yeah.
Sounds like a good read.
Yeah.
A mansion full of mannequins and life-size wax models of old white wait staff, like an old white man wax butler, an old white lady wax maid, just forever standing outside a door or in a hallway. Also, assorted mannequins pose standing or sitting in various rooms of his house. If it
That's
wasn't
like
creepy enough,
just like the frozen children. Like
yeah,
that's truly how you would set up a horror movie. Like if you were creating a scary mansion, the scariest thing you could do is just mansion. So you could get like all those jump scares, like every time you turn a corner
yeah.
and you think, could this be an apparition or one of the Jacksons or a mannequin? Like, and which is scarier anyway? Like just the true perfect setting for like a horror movie.
Which is such a like child thing to do.
I
Yeah.
guess.
Most people like the feng shui is like,
Yeah,
I want
sure.
relaxing. I want stuff. Michael's
Yes.
like, I want it to scare me. It's scary. It's funny. I laugh. I laugh and I'm scared. Um so what was referred to also as an oxygenated coffin or a hyperbaric chamber,
Sure.
as we might know it from Michael, to lie in and refuel, much like Dracula.
Sure. Like
Same skin tone.
Yeah.
And also the whole surviving on blood of young virgins.
the young
An unending string of commissioned and recommissioned murals depicting himself as Jesus or Peter Pan or a king, a
Okay.
superpowered or extraterrestrial being with magical abilities, and assorted other kid fantasy archetypes, very often surrounded by an armful of joyful, awestruck children in them.
Anybody commissioning, and I like just anybody commissioning like murals or portraits of themselves in general, like I don't care how much money you have, but just also just like it's always so interesting to me, somebody like going like, I'd like now a portrait of myself. I think of that the Seth Rogen. Did you ever see Long Shot? He has like his
Yes.
presidential portrait as the first lady, except he's a man, the first husband.
And that leads us into my portrait. It was painted by Todd McFarlane.
And he has like one of him done by like Todd McFarlane or something like that with like muscly arms. But like anybody,
These are I in situations like this, I love to get mired in the details.
Yep.
And my darling Casey always asks me like, why do you think like this? Like why is this a thing? You always think like this.
Yeah.
Like for me, I love the idea of, and I know this wasn't the case because Michael Jackson had an army of people, assistants,
Yep.
that would do probably he would say one off.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be kind of funny if I was like all muscly and I was hoping a bunch of kids. And they're like, I'm on it, Mike. I got you, Mike. And then it would make it happen. It would show up and he goes, oh, that's funny. Like he wasn't the actual one putting in the order, but I like to think of Michael bringing the artist in and then be like, okay, Michael, I'd like to know what you're looking. He's like, me, but Jesus. And there's like, and the guy's like, I'm sorry, what? And he's like, or Peter Pan. Or like an extraterrestrial being with magical abilities and lots of muscles and killed kids around. And they're like, that's a no for me, dog. I'm going to go ahead and disqualify. I like just like the thought of him ordering and the guy being like, nope. And then Michael pulling a lever and this guy getting lowered into a thing of crocodiles underneath.
Love it.
But I just love the idea of the transaction.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm sorry, what? And then the artist that day going back home to his family and his wife and in bed, and he's like, he wants me to paint him as Jesus. Like, what does that even mean? Like, yeah. So I just love the idea.
I get it.
But,
I get it
yeah.
completely.
But as with any uber rich dude,
Yep.
a collection of fine cars and assorted fine cars, custom made into limos with soda pop fridges and screens for watching movies and cartoons, much like Jade Leno.
I don't picture like he's always the child. Like when you're buying a collection of fine cars, like if you're Jay Leno, exactly, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go and cruise around in the Bentley on Sunday and just take the Bentley to Starbucks or whatever. But for all of them, like, did Michael Jackson drive? Did he ever? Had he ever
No
driven?
way.
It's
There's
just
0.0
sitting- yeah,
chance.
Zero chance, right? It's just like it would be like buying cars, except you're always buying cars, but like they have like high chairs or like baby chairs in the back. And you're like, yeah, I just set up my car. You want to come see it? And then like none of the stuff outside of your little tiny sippy cup area with your high chair and your grown-up screen to watch Pixar movies do you care about. Like you've just bought a
So
car. And you're like,
weird,
oh, it
man.
also has an engine, I hear. It's up there somewhere.
It's every time he inches towards something as an adult, it always is like, oh yeah, but also could you fit this in? Like, I'm sure the guys at Lamborghini were thrilled when
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, Michael's ordering a custom car. He said price is not an option. They're like, oh my God, the king of pop, we're gonna make the most beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
And what is this at the bottom? He wants a soda fridge in the back and the screen to watch cartoons. And they're like, oh, but now we, you kind of get into the just another stratosphere of rich that Michael Jackson
Sure.
was. The entire Beatles song catalog,
Yeah,
purchased,
sure.
amongst other music rights catalogs, Jackson vacuumed up.
It's gotta have it.
Yep, those were more investments, like kind of like baseball cards.
Of course, yeah.
Oh, Beyonce's entire music catalog. That's going to be worth in something someday. I'll put that one in a plastic sleeve in my closet. Legal settlements with people accusing him of doing inappropriate things with their children.
Sure.
Had to have a slush fund for that. That was a big line item in the bookkeeping.
Oh, for sure. That's
Oh, yeah.
You gotta like. That's a little kind of like we gotta have some money in the kitty. I keep a little box under my bed. Interestingly, where I keep the other things to scare the other children.
Right next to it, so it reminds me.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I got to fill that box back up.
Yeah,
Millions upon millions of dollars of jewelry.
Sure.
Given as extravagant gifts, or sometimes just put in storage, or maybe occasionally wear around the house.
Yeah, of course.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars on prescription medications.
Of course.
Famously, pills and chemicals needed to help him sleep and function throughout the day, and along with medical staff, doctors to administer the stuff.
Do you think he knew the names of the doctors, or did he like? I remember there was a time when it was lovely, but I was exposed to like Busta Rhymes, and he had an entourage, but all their names,
Wow.
I'm sure they had actual names, but all their names corresponded to what their jobs or their assignments were. So
Oh,
there was
really?
like Turbo, and it's like he was the driver, and then there was like Divine, and like he was a spiritual advisor. Like, do you think like all of his doctors were like, that's Dr. Sleepy time, and that's Dr.
100%.
That's
a
Dr.
1000%.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
He wasn't like, oh, that's Dr.
Schwartzman.
Peterson,
Sure,
MD.
whatever.
He's a specialist in
Yeah.
podiatry
Yeah,
and
yeah.
sleep medicine. Like, there's no way. Yeah. Oh, he went to he was at John Hopkins. There's no chance. He was like, Dr. Sleepy's here. Did I scare you again? The guy's like, oh, I swear to God, one of these days, I'm just gonna up this dosage.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
sick of your shit, dude. Yeah, just insane.
Yeah,
Just
of course.
insane. And by some accounts,
Sure.
he put bids on the Elephant Man John Merrick's misshapen skeleton and
Yeah.
bones.
Once again, if you got to have it, you got to have it.
Yep.
Impulse.
The actual gloves, the scissor hands from Edward Scissorhands.
Cool. Just, again, in case you
super.
want to walk around a darkened house with a bunch of kids and give them the forever nightmares, in case you want to be sure that they sink in so that they get into a primal like place that like, snakes and spiders do for them.
Yeah.
Just wear the scissor hands around the house at night to like play tickle trunk or whatever.
Yes. Yeah. On a cellular level. Michael Jackson was going for generations to be scared. It's kind of like with mice that are like, that are never exposed to cats, but are still afraid of cats. That's what Michael Jackson was. He's like, your great grandkids gonna get creeped out by me. Like, and they're never even gonna have
It's 100%. There's like a new child born in that family, and like a mouse that knows to fear the silhouette of a hawk, it knows to fear the silhouette of Michael Jackson.
It is written in the DNA. God damn it, Michael. The face of the boy from the movie Mask.
Okay.
About a person born with a deformity.
Oh, yeah,
makes
that movie,
people regard him as a freak with Cher.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Who was the love interest? Who's the dad?
I don't honestly remember, but somebody cool.
Famous.
Yeah.
Was it Christopher Cross? I don't know why that name just
I
popped in my
don't know that it was. I'd like it to be. I like Christopher Cross. He's cool.
Yeah. I don't know why. Giant bulk orders of popcorn, candies, and ice cream, of course, with custom flavors like truth or dairy, free creamsicle, roofie road with almonds,
Okay.
Jamocha chocolate sleeping pill,
Of course.
and not shocking, Neapolitan.
Sure, yes. Love
Yeah,
me
he's the
some
only person that ate. He would actually scoop across
Oh, yeah, he's
across
the
the
only
colors
yeah. Weird.
like a sociopath.
That's weird.
Yeah, no, you eat vanilla and chocolate and you leave strawberry.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't eat that shit. And just generally all typical expenses of the super rich: private jets, support staff and employees,
Sure.
endangered animal omelets, hush money.
Sure.
I've just finished watching season 1 of The White Lotus.
Yep.
And I fucking uber rich people are nuts.
Yeah, they are. Because
And
they
I
can afford
don't.
to be.
Yeah, because they can afford to be.
Yeah.
I would like to. I no longer want to be uber rich. I just want to be like, I can afford a first class ticket rich.
Sure.
I don't want. I don't. Yeah, this level. No, thank you.
Yeah.
As if it was on the table. It's not anymore.
But it does make you think, like, you know how like people are they like they you'll get crazy, like actual madness, crazy sick from like just piles of cat shit in your plate and like you can
Yes.
breathe
Yeah,
in the
just
fumes.
yeah, just being in the fumes.
That's
yeah.
how just giant piles of money are. Apparently, we didn't know it until now. But you breathe in that much the fumes of that much money, and like you will go mad. Like
We could do a whole podcast on the last years and days of Scrooge McDuck and how he fucking lost his shit.
Good idea.
That dude swam in it.
Right,
It was
that one
bad.
down.
Yeah. So none of these things on their own, back to Michael, make Michael Jackson a bad person.
Sure.
But taken together, well, maybe the roofie ice cream, but taken together, they start to paint a picture of someone with a weird life, divorced of reality, who might indulge in weird stuff because he can.
Yeah.
And when you get that level, there's no one telling you no.
Yeah.
There's no one saying like, hey, come on, man. Like,
Yeah.
whatever. And whenever somebody else introduces other Michael Jackson stories or rumors, you don't dismiss it.
Yep.
That's the level of crazy.
Mhm.
You kind of go, yeah, checks out. That kind of tracks.
Who would have thought that a glow-in-the-dark skeleton who dressed like Napoleon and lived by himself in an abandoned amusement park would have such a creepy dark side?
At some point,
Yeah.
there's some people are so far gone in whatever world, but at some point you go like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, it's like,
No.
I think you should leave. Like,
I don't even want to be around
I don't
anymore.
want to do this anymore. Like, he has to be sitting in his robe and then just sitting there in his chair going like, I don't want to be here anymore.
Wow. So, I mean, yeah, again, the lore that starts adding to this dude is, well, it's like creating a story about a scary character like a boogeyman if you started adding up all these things. Sleeping, again, let's separate out again the lore, the weirdness, creepy lore from even just the truth or whatever, but like many of these things were true. Like, so again, horror movie set house of a sort.
Yeah.
Sleeping in an oxygenated coffin, that was maybe true, but it also, a tabloid story that the more that you dig into these tabloid stories, you find that Michael Jackson himself starts perpetuating or picking up or continuing the tabloid stories. But anyway,
Just for like entertainment, like
Or
for his
just-
own entertainment, or like if they're gonna believe it, why not?
I
Let's just
don't-
lean into
or
it.
just that, like, the more that they were talking about him at the very least,
Yeah.
his publicist was like, well, within certain, kind of boundaries, just the publicity, it's the no publicity is bad publicity thing, right?
Yeah.
It's the well, they're talking about you and there's nothing overtly wrong, but like people are doing more pieces in the and more, stories and those pieces every time somebody says your name, they're also going like, oh, I should listen to Thriller again, or like I at the end of it, like, I don't know, maybe.
Which I feel like has informed like a generation of YouTubers in the worst possible way,
Yeah.
to where they like stage things
Yeah.
to do like, oh yeah, like this is what'll get people talking about
Yeah,
me. It's
right.
like, you know what? Back in my day, crazy people were actually freaking crazy. Like he was crazy when the cameras were off. You're
Yeah,
crazy just when it's the smash, subscribe, like.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
you know, if you're gonna be crazy, like like go all out.
yeah, yeah,
Go all out, be crazy,
yeah.
have a doctor who hooks you up to an IV, ends up killing you. Like go like be crazy, crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Agree.
Yeah, dude.
Strong, strong, strong agree. Anyway, but likely the oxygenated coffin was like basically a hyperbaric chamber, and he was kind of ahead of his time on that. A lot of athletes use them. LeBron James, or like, like
Yeah.
he was a dancer, performer. My dude.
Hey, it actually makes sense. And it may be one of those things that he did once. And
Yeah,
somebody's like, "Ooh, I heard,
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
I heard he
And
does
so
this every night."
that's exactly it. The lore around people like Michael Jackson becomes impossible to verify or separate out from fiction. And Weirdo Stories, the Jackal lore, is almost as much of a part of his legacy as ABC or Don't Stop Till You Get Enough or, PYT Pretty Young Thing. So then, when these charges of child abuse and inappropriate sexual relationships came out in the 2000s, around the 2000s, like early 2000s,
Mhm.
through
Mhm.
the 2000s and into the 2010s, well, past Michael Jackson's death, it's it's that we found it all, well, kind of impossible to separate out the truth from like the peanut butter in the jelly jar thing of like what is the truth from this yikes level story. Like, so in 1993, the, I think, first accusation was from a gentleman named Evan Chandler, who accused Michael Jackson of molesting his 13-year-old son, Jordan Chandler. The lawsuit was settled out of court for $15 million. And that kind of set the tone both for the recurrent narrative around Michael Jackson's strange, inappropriately intimate, kind of boundaryless. Uh,
Mhm.
some said like he's just a boundaryless. He doesn't he thinks of himself as a child, so he doesn't think of it as anything weird to be around these kids in these states in these places. And others would say, but he isn't a child, and
Yeah.
he's a mid-30s man, and yeah. But like, so like it set the tone for that, for these strange, inappropriate, dynamics with kids, and it set the tone for the money and legal
Mm.
settlements and book deals that these people got off these things, and payments for TV show appearances and stories and magazine articles and documentary appearances, so that accusers heard this little dinner bell, this triangle. They were
Mm.
like, oh, you know, this means parents and guardians knew that that money was gettable, and that they would pay you just to silence you and go away, and that there was a pot of gold at the end of that accusation rainbow. And we might never really know. Like in this case, again, it becomes really murky, separating out the fact from the fiction and the ick from the truth and the whatever. In this case, this dude, Evan Chandler, who got paid to shut up about these Michael Jackson accusations, the dad,
Mhm.
he happened to be Carrie Fisher's dentist. Carrie Fisher, like Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher,
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
but also
Mm.
Carrie Fisher, a really sharp, funny confessional writer who would write these personal confessional books. And in one of her books called Shockaholic, Carrie Fisher said this dude, who was her dentist, told her all about how Michael Jackson had taken a shine to his son, and she found it deeply unsettling and icky because the dentist kept going like, my son is a really attractive young boy, and Michael Jackson, it's so cool that Michael Jackson is like, it likes him and wants to hang out with him, and that he kept,
Ooh.
yeah, already gross, and that he was like, oh, Michael, he was telling Carrie Fisher, um that he liked Michael Jackson having my son over, and like they like hang out, and he likes buying him toys and gifts, and like he takes him on cool trips to exotic places, and he buys him computers, and they have sleepovers where they sleep in the same bed. And Carrie Fisher, being a grown person, was like, yeah, okay, but like, what about the grossness of that, and like
Yeah.
what's inappropriate about that? And the dude, Evan Chandler, was trying to explain to her like, no, it's okay, because his then ex-wife, the boy's mom, is always there. Maybe not in the bedroom, but she's always at the house. Like, she's there while
Mm.
this is happening. And then after a time, and after maybe more than just Carrie Fisher, was trying to explain to him, like, this is maybe not cool. This is maybe no bueno. Um, he decided, Evan Chandler, to sue, as I just explained earlier, Michael Jackson for millions of dollars.
This man is going to be humiliated beyond belief. He will not believe it. He will not believe what's going to happen. Beyond his worst nightmares.
For sleeping in the same bed as their boy, which they had decided was okay, and kept bringing him to Michael Jackson to kind of stir up their child. Yeah, yeah.
Knowing that was going on, and
yeah.
I mean, I would go far to say, great dentist, terrible dad. Like he's bad at this.
Nice. So the dad then, just to put a bit of a tie a loop on this particular one, this incident, the dad, Evan Chandler, claimed Michael Jackson fans, there's some evidence to support this, like the ones who didn't want to believe that this was even possible, or the super fans. I picture the sea of zombies. Whenever I picture Michael Jackson fans, I picture like the sea of zombies, like the dancing zombies in the Thriller video, like, but they're all like, all their Michael Jackson outfits are like dumpy and ill-fitting, and they're like,
and from like the tour 12 years ago.
Yeah.
You don't need to be wearing that.
Yeah. But like, like I picture them like, I don't know why. I picture them like the super fans, like they're like low budget fat Spider-Man, fat Spider-Man who like takes pictures with tourists outside Man or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
that he claimed that these people started stalking him, and that these Jackson fans were after him. So this is real, got plastic surgery. He, the dentist, Evan Chandler, got plastic surgery, just like Jackson, but got plastic surgery to disguise his own appearance from those fans, these people who wanted revenge for besmirching Michael Jackson's name. And then in 2005, 6, I think, after one of the big trials of Jackson, his son Jordan had fled the country to avoid testifying against Michael Jackson. He was claiming that, like, he was like, I don't want my parents putting me in this position anymore. So Evan, the dad, attacked what would then be his grown son with a barbell and mace. I don't know if that's the bear spray or like a big medieval club or whatever, but and then
Jesus Christ.
And then
either way is progressively worse.
Yeah.
Like he squared off with them, like in full armor.
Yeah.
Like Game of Thrones, like he's like trial by combat.
Your great dentist, terrible dad thing is really coming true.
Yes.
And then 5 months after Michael Jackson died in 2009, Chandler, the dad, Evan Chandler, the dentist who had sued and accused Michael Jackson, killed himself by shooting himself in the head.
Goodness.
Yes. And then to this day, Jordan Chandler, the son, claims now his parents forced him to do and say horrific shit about Michael Jackson, and they put him in this position or whatever. So he blames his parents more than he blames Michael Jackson. And again, his parents sound awful, particularly his dad sounds goddamn awful.
Well, it throws everything into question of like, did it actually happen? Are you sure? Did he? I mean, this sounds god awful, what I'm about to say, but this sounds like I'm just being like,
okay,
like I'm like one of Michael Jackson's handlers, but like, are you sure that did he really like rub up against you, and it wasn't like he was turning over and over and over again? Like, you sure about that? Like, it makes it, that's so sad. It like calls into questions to that. But then it's what's so beautiful, like beautifully interesting, I guess is what I mean. And this is like, it's all tangled up of like, does he feel bad for Michael Jackson? Was he actually a huge fan? Is he a super fan? Is he one of those that he's like, no, he couldn't have. And now they made me do this, and now I feel horrible for. It's just like this very messy situation.
Oh, it's all so messy. And that's what I was getting at before about like separating the truth out of all of this stuff. Some people feel like whether it's the parents with dollar bills in their eyes or children who are now grown, like the kids in the Leaving Neverland doc, and there's some truly unsettling, hard stuff to hear reconcile in their stories in that doc. Some people feel that all of it is just people who see this incredible Scrooge McDuck level fortune, and an equally incredibly weird and bewildering and kind of icky dude in Michael Jackson, where everybody just accepts, like Elephant Man's bones, that that all sounds abundantly possible with this dude. And all I know is having watched those docs and read a lot of the pieces about this stuff, there's still some stuff that are super hard for me to reconcile. Like, for example, when I was 12 or 13, if you'd asked me, like Jordan Chandler got asked to like draw and describe Michael Jackson's penis. If you'd asked me at 12 or 13, dude, I could have probably drawn my dad's penis.
Draw pictures of dicks.
By happenstance, I'd probably seen it when he was changing or in the shower. But like, if you'd asked me to do that, I probably would have just been like, okay, but couldn't I instead draw like a motorcycle or a speedboat or a Garfield?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, exactly.
I could draw the shit out of a Garfield. I don't know that we need. Yeah. Point is, it becomes hard to hold this idea of these kids, preteen to early teen or early adolescent kids, sleeping in bed with this 30-something grown man.
I'm just picturing. I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
picturing him drawing it because I know how I still would draw one.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna have a face on it.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be like flexing or something. And then also like I picture a moment where like in the OJ trial when he was putting on the glove and he's like, see, this isn't mine.
Yeah.
Like Michael Jackson holding the picture up to this junk. Be like, see, I don't have a face. I don't even look anything like me. That's not mine. What are you talking about?
Oh man. Like, honestly, yeah. These kids, accusing this grown man or like, doing quick crayon drawings of his ding dong for the cops. All that, we can make sense of it and chalk it up to like, childlike stuff. Like Jordan Chandler testified, by the way, to your point, by the way, just because you brought it up. Like
Mhm.
he either described Michael Jackson's penis to a sketch artist, or he both drew one, probably like you said, with a face on it. Maybe it's flexing.
This real big, veiny, triumphant bastard.
Maybe it's doing like a moonwalk or whatever, or like tilting his
Yeah.
hat down. And like he described and drew a circumcised penis. But then the autopsy, which is a real bummer that they're like, the
Oh.
autopsy revealed that wasn't necessarily true. I don't know what necessarily means in that context. It's just
Yeah,
what
it's either true or it's not.
yeah.
Wasn't
But
necessarily
but
that.
here
Was
we
it like
are. Here we
halfway
are
there?
going through this dude's junk after he's died, and it's all just gross and ghoulish and
It's
whatever.
just gross. Yeah, very ghoulish.
Yeah. But just like we gotta hold these
Good thing Michael Jackson's dead because he would probably try and buy his own dead penis. I'd like that for my dinner table. I want to make it into a salt shaker.
Oh man. We got to hold these difficult ideas, including the difficult idea concept of what John just said, in our heads, already filled with all this dude's other undeniable weirdnesses, so that like, we got to hold that stuff in our heads and our hearts along with maybe, the song Human Nature. I goddamn loved the song Human Nature from Michael Jackson. And
So good.
and look, we're not, as you may have noticed already, we're not an investigative journalism show. I've said that on another episode, but yeah, we are not.
Not remotely.
Yeah. We're not Inside Edition or whatever tabloid journalism shows might just traffic in such wild speculation and every gross, grisly detail. Did Michael Jackson touch or inappropriately create sexual dynamics with these kids? I don't know. I don't know is the answer. It almost, not it doesn't matter, but like, when someone in town or community gets like accused of inappropriately messing with kids, even if
Mhm.
later they're finally like, even if they're exonerated and proven innocent,
Yeah.
often they still end up having to leave town or move away because once you're tarred with that brush, there's almost no going back. Like you're that
Mhm.
guy now. And so you have to leave town. Like, even though the facts of the case came to light later that you didn't. I don't know.
Yeah, you're gonna spend your whole life just
Yeah.
defending yourself to these people who don't. It's the story is on its own. Then
Yeah.
then you
Yeah.
you have
Like,
to move.
oh, we could spend, as I said, a whole series of episodes, a whole episode for certain, just on all the weirdnesses around Michael Jackson. I didn't even mention his dad, Joe Jackson, like originating trauma, like we talked about, that's meant to maybe quote unquote explain away all of Michael Jackson's stuff. Joe Jackson definitely and probably inarguably fucked up those kids. People maintain this to this day. None more than weirdly, well, Michael maintained it, but Brooke Shields, who was oddly close to Michael Jackson as
Mhm.
parallel child stars in the phenomenon or whatever, she went out of her way to call Joe Jackson the devil and a monster. A lot of people did. He also looked like a
I was
Disney.
about to say he looked like it,
Yeah, he
especially near
looked
the
like a
end.
Disney drawing of like a villain in a cartoon. Like some people say, like like that. Like when you see the old like the Princess and the Frog or some like old hand drawn thing of like Jafar from like from
God, yeah.
from
His
Aladdin.
eyebrows are
Yeah,
so
his
evil, man.
his eyebrows, his eyes, the whole vibe, just like he was drawn as an evil character or whatever.
Yeah.
Some say that Joe Jackson explains a lot of Michael's fucked upness.
Mhm.
Hurt people, even unwittingly hurt people. I
Mhm.
don't know. I do think Michael Jackson was fucked up and a challenging and difficult person to reconcile who made great art and then also
Mhm.
made consistently weird ass decisions. Last thing, just because it, like as I say, we could spend so much time on this, but like a little before Michael Jackson's death,
Mhm.
Michael Jackson was planning a comeback and he was like fighting off and trying to fight through like this what seemed like court cases and accusations and hiding from the accusations and all of that, just running the gauntlet of all of these things. And he planned a comeback concert series in Las Vegas, like entertainers do now, Celine Dion or Cher or
Mhm.
whoever. Like, I'm gonna get a residency in Vegas, except this one was like more of an exclusive one. It was a short concert series. And as he always did with his shows, quite the showman and his stage show, he had all these grandiose ideas for like staging and lights and solar powered costumes on everyone in the show that changed colors with the lights. But his biggest plan was for a 15-meter, that's 50 foot, a 50-foot tall robot version of himself that would I mean this sincerely, that would roam and stomp through the Nevada desert, a 50-foot Michael Jackson robot, like within view, if you've been to Vegas, like McCarran Airport,
Yeah.
like within view of McCarran Airport, so that people could see this 50-foot tall Michael Jackson robot wandering the countryside, and it would potentially maybe blast laser beams out of its eyes. But there were drawings for it. They had all of this kind of like these plans made up. It was Michael Jackson's like big plan for like how he was going to win back people by like doing this concert series, but also creating a robot of himself that like you know wandered the desert, blasting people with light laser beams out of its eyes. But despite having all these designs and sketches and things, nobody would ultimately help him finance and build this thing. It sounds like something Trump would, sorry to get, I'm not, but just it sounds like something Trump would conceive of for like border patrol or like
Oh
or
yeah.
like just
It's like
yeah.
he's yeah, and it's
Yeah.
like, and it should look like me, which
Yeah.
will be this, and the all the illegals
Yeah.
will be bowing down to it
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
because they realize that I'm the
Yeah,
best.
yeah. It just sounds or just like or he makes like it's a transformer. Like 1 minute it's Trump Tower, and then next minute it's a Trump shaped, several stories tall robot that just stomps on the immigrants. Is that like
Yeah.
it
I
sounds
mean,
messed.
you get to a certain point. I mean, that's like all like the kings of,
Yeah.
if you just look back at history and they're
Yep.
like, no, I want gold floor to ceiling and I want it to be this, and like,
Yeah, yeah.
and Michael Jackson was at that level of
Yeah, yeah.
like, yeah. And at that point, he's so out of his mind,
Yeah.
probably.
Oh,
And he's
like
like,
all the like you were saying, all the various cocktail of things that it took to like keep him to let him sleep or to keep him going or to, dull or numb whatever stuff was churning away in his head and his subconscious that I can't even fathom. Um,
yeah, to have Michael Jackson, Mecha Jackson, in the in the freaking roaming the hillsides is terrifying.
yeah, there's so many terrifying things. And again, like when you add all that up, I don't know actually what happened. We're not an investigative journalism show, and I'm not trying to prove something definitively, but take that whole picture of what a weird dude he was and you start to hear these accusations and these things, and you're like, that's a bad dude. It just sounds like a bad dude. It sounds like a bad dude. So, you know, in keeping with the kahunas, from 50-foot tall Jacobot to five to 5 apple high Lilliputian Lothario virtuoso. Are you ready? Let's talk about Prince. So Prince is another dude whose artistic output and his talent easily put him in the pantheon. So when I was a kid, I only knew Prince for being like bold and purple and hypersexual. Like I definitely didn't know, and I think for a lot of time, people didn't know him as a troublesome figure. Like I knew when he was a kid, I knew he did When Doves Cry, but I wasn't like asking to myself like, what did he say or do to these doves? They seem pretty upset. What did he say to make them cry? But with Prince, it's more like, well, either we can't handle the truth or they don't think we can handle the truth. So the reason I say that is last year, I think it was last year, the New York Times Magazine wrote a piece about a 9-hour documentary that Oscar winner Ezra Edelman, who is the dude who made that, he won the Academy Award for the doc OJ, speaking of troublesome figures, OJ Made in America, OJ Simpson, great artist on the gridiron, gifted physical comedian in the Naked Gun
Speaking of
films.
great artists, yeah.
But some believe his legacy was tarnished or smeared with the blood of his wife and Ron Goldman, allegedly. Anyway,
allegedly.
Anyway, but the dude who made the doc on OJ was given the task of doing a comprehensive doc for Netflix on Prince. And as outlined in the New York Times, only a small handful of people have been allowed to see this now completed documentary series. And the people in charge of Prince's estate may never allow it to be seen. But still, facts about it and from it have leaked out. Those who were allowed to see it, music aficionados, those, super plugged in, connected folks, also Prince super fans, Questlove, the drummer and band leader from The Roots, for example, and a music documentarian himself. Questlove apparently walked out in tears because he had so revered and worshipped Prince as a musical genius, but the doc had also revealed Prince's abusive and vicious side.
Which the thought of that little guy getting vicious, bite the shit out of your ankles, like that's terrifying.
It's like the Leprechaun in the Leprechaun movies.
I'm a leprechaun, me dear.
Or like Chucky.
He moves so fast, he just crawl up like your back and just start slapping you.
So the piece that they wrote about the doc, where they kind of the piece describes him as Prince as a creature of pure sex and mischief and mysterious ambiguity. But it also reveals, as the doc reveals, that he was dark and vindictive and pathological and controlling and deeply sad, which then manifests in anger. So maybe he's the crying dove that we were just speaking of. I don't know. Yeah.
This is what it sounds like.
Yeah. But as the piece chronicling the doc suggests, this article that I'm speaking of is called "The Prince We Never Knew." Though it took Edelman, the director, 5 years to make this film, and it was fully financed and set for Netflix release, we may never see it. We're certainly not going to see it now, mostly because the executors of Prince's estate, having seen the doc themselves, believe it will badly hurt, if not outright tank, the value of Prince's musical catalog. And so that's where we come back around to the theme, the topic for, well, this. It's a close cousin of like what we were saying with Michael Jackson, like is there such a thing as bad publicity? Like, what do we do with Great Art from Terrible People? Yeah, but like, are they right to think that like, if they release this stuff, will it forever taint and tarnish Prince's musical catalog? Or will it create interest in Prince and people will be like, yeah, but like,
because I think Prince is one of those like rarefied air. He's so talented. He's so good.
Yeah.
I mean, like I was when he died,
Mhm.
there was a special showing of Purple Rain at a local theater that I went to
Nice.
the next day.
Ooh.
And it was a daytime thing, and there
Ooh.
was tears,
Oh,
and there
yeah.
was screaming at the screen, and
Yep.
there was dancing, and there was that's my like my especially when he gets like, he's at the concert and he's getting all freaky on stage and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and it was like, this is, I mean, he's created this mysterious persona that
Yeah.
I don't think it would make people. It's not like John Denver, like where they're like, oh my god, John Denver used to beat the shit out of this. Like, really? Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know if I could listen to that anymore. It's like, it kind of makes sense. Like,
Well, yeah, I mean, that's it. And so, like, it's a different thing from the Michael Jackson thing, for a few reasons, but the main one is the one that you just hit on, which is the kind of things we don't know about Prince and the mystique and the whatever. Like, there's a dude with like a decade maybe of perfect albums and iconic performances and the film Purple Rain, song Purple Rain. Um, and otherwise there's this veil, like sometimes literally a lace veil that he'd wear, but there's a veil behind which he hid his true self.
even other celebrities typically talk about times they met or interacted with Prince the way people
Sure.
at the start of a Scooby Doo episode would talk about having seen a ghost.
Sure, yes.
It's Prince.
It is.
It goes beyond mystery and mystique.
Yeah.
I mean, it's legendary. Two things that are harder to come by these days, but Prince definitely had them in
Yeah.
spades. So that every Prince story ends up sounding like somebody describing having seen a leprechaun or a Bigfoot.
Sure, yeah.
Which is hilarious. Two ends
Yeah.
of the spectrum,
Yeah.
height wise. A tiny guitar playing Loch Ness monster who sometimes emerges from the water to release an album or throw a big purple themed pajama party.
Sure.
And I don't know why, but the funniest part about Prince for me is that he's from Minnesota. I just fucking can't get over that. Like, that's like, because he's like an alien. Like, he should have emerged. He should have, like, he was grown in like in a laboratory in Paris, and then was shipped off to like
Sure,
some
yeah.
super funk down to Louisiana and grown in the swamps there to play this amazing music.
Sure.
And then just appears, not from Minnesota.
Sure.
Like,
Or he's like the
not
Hunchback of Notre Dame, but like he wears like frilly shirts and he's like a weird legendary freak. He's like the Phantom of the Opera. Like he existed
Yeah.
in like the catacombs or the attic of some like building of a weird fashion house in Paris or whatever. And then he escapes, and people are like, "Oh, he can also play live shows."
Yes, it's like it is. It's this very mysterious thing, but rather than like him running from the women or whatever,
Yeah.
like he just bangs them all, and then he like, goes back, and the townsfolk, they bring pitchforks and fire, not because he's a freak, because he's banging all their chicks. Like, they're like, dude, that's not cool, man. Like, just pick a lane.
Yeah.
Like, hide out or be among us.
Yeah.
God, don't just sneak in and like, all the chicks want you, bro. So they usually say something when referring to Prince, like, and then Prince just appeared, or suddenly I hear
Sure,
Prince's
yeah.
voice coming through the wall or the ceiling, like an
Yeah.
angel with an intercom.
People parted, and there was Prince. It was like a movie.
It crowd just parts, and you see like a purple cloud.
A giant Prince symbol just like illuminated on the wall.
You turn for a brief second to your left, and you look back to where Prince was, and he'd be gone, like some sort of spirit.
And he was floating across the room.
Prince.
They quite often involve some outfit combined with a competitive sport or game. Like, he was wearing a crushed velvet outfit, holding a ping pong paddle, or he was wearing platform boots and a blousy pirate shirt, and he offered me a croquet bat.
Prince in a double-breasted crushed velvet suit, and he's holding a ping pong paddle, and he goes, "You ready for this?"
Prince had on that outfit where he had the little like short shirt and the leather jacket and the buttons and stuff, had on the waistlet. And he was like, "Hey, y'all want to play some basketball?" He was like, "What the?"
Prince was short, small, compact, and fast. Oh, some Mighty Mouse.
It's totally true. Like, he's like one of these dudes who's like, he's the king. You know that kid who's like the king of skee ball in like the arcade in some movie.
Yes.
Like, that's the teen, and he wears like a leather jacket, but sometimes like somehow like the Fonz or like some like TV person, he's decided to devote all his cool energy to like being great at like arcade sports. So he's like pop a
Yeah.
shot anyone, and he like comes out with a pop a shot ball, or like whack-a-mole, and then he like just torches you in whack-a-mole but with like dark glasses.
Yeah, like they're like, what is this super freak? He probably doesn't even know how to play play ping pong. Like in the town where ping pong is the king and Johnny's
Yeah,
the
sure.
best ping pong player.
Yep,
And
yep.
then Prince emerges out of the ground and is like, like and just smokes him. All of this contributed to this idea that Prince was this otherworldly wood nymph who was super competitive.
Yeah.
Like he is such a dichotomy of everything. Like
Mhm.
literally, like Prince is that he was insanely could be insanely fashion and effeminate, but
Yep.
was like a freaking booty hound, like love
Mhm.
chicks. Like it was like
Sure.
very everything. He was like he looks
Mhm.
like he would just sit and like read these novels that you've never heard of upside down, backwards, and then he would smoke you in a game of 21
Sure.
like him and his boys. Like it was like Rumpelstiltskin, but he challenges you to a game of skee ball for your everlasting soul. You're like,
Yes,
what the
totally.
hell? Like, man, this like, dude, you caught me off guard, bro.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
nobody really knows Prince. They speak of him in whispers, and though he could emerge from the mist at any moment, still to this day, I'm
Yeah,
sure,
sure.
to claim their
Never know.
firstborn child and
Yep.
take them to live in a paisley fun house in the suburbs of Minnesota, maybe bathe them in the waters of Lake Minnetonka.
Lake Minnetonka, sure, yeah.
And that's scary and mysterious to a lot of folks. That's the stuff that folk tales are truly made of.
So like then things like Chappelle's Show,
Prince was incredible.
there's been countless stories. Like there's a very famous Kevin Smith had a documentary series where he let out his crazy Prince stories.
Prince has been living in Prince world for quite some time.
Conan O'Brien has crazy Prince stories. T-Pain, Questlove, every other big time celebrity who themselves was reduced to like some sycophantic, giggling, like Japanese teen girl super fan when they actually encountered Prince. But all of that comes from the mystery, the aforementioned veil that he hid himself behind, the mystique. You'd hope to cultivate to sustain a reputation as this elusive genius. But often when you lift up the veil on like an artist like that, you see darkness and demons and the stuff they rightfully were like, I should probably keep this hidden. I should keep this under wraps. And like, you know, the stuff that comes out in the doc shows Prince to be this tortured genius who, yes, genius, absolutely, but had been traumatized as a kid and kicked out and rejected by both parents before the age of 14. And all of
Wow.
that, living the rest of his life trying to like, I don't know, all that manifested in a maniacal drive for fame and recognition and control, particularly in relationships with women. He was cold and controlling and got involved with a lot of ladies as teenagers. Some are oftentimes like virgins that he'd like create these letter writing campaigns with, or he'd send them messages or whatever, and kind of, I'm describing grooming. It's called grooming. Like, he'd
Mhm.
he'd send them these letters and
Amongst other things that they found after Prince died, there were letters he had written to various young women, oftentimes inappropriately young ladies that he'd met or seen and subsequently become infatuated with. And I mean, it's almost a rock and roll cliche at this point.
She was just 13, I was 31. A bad little girl, let's have some fun. I'm gonna marry that girl.
Jerry Lee Lewis married a 13-year-old who also happened to be his cousin. You run it, he was hitting on chicks at the family reunion. Elvis's first girlfriend was 15 years old when they dated, and he started dating his future wife Priscilla at 14 years old.
I think he
Lori
waited
Maddox.
until she was of age to feed her fried bologna sandwiches with covered in peanut butter, though.
He does have morals. He has a moral code. Lori Maddox was 14 years old when she was with David Bowie and then Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin in quick succession.
Sure.
This carries all the way through more recent instances like R. Kelly's multiple child pornography and peeing on people issues involving a 14-year-old.
Sure.
Not
the
a
word,
good
but
look.
it's like really like peeing on people, but also, dude, she's underage. Do you have to pee on somebody your own age? Can't you?
Yeah,
You know,
come on,
it's like
man.
it's the classic.
Yeah,
pick on someone your own age. Pee on someone your own age, R. Kelly.
Pee on someone your own age. Hey, if I was the prosecuting attorney,
Yeah.
that's what I'd say. Hey,
Yeah.
and in closing, hey man, why don't you pee on someone your own age? I'm a man. You pee on me. And also like hilariously, most like songs from the 60s were just like,
Oh God, yeah.
oh, she's only 16. She's only 14. I wish she was just a little bit older, but I'm gonna overlook it. So, and we're not necessarily here to lump all of these cases together. Maybe Prince was quite honorable in how long he waited for these ladies. Maybe
Sure.
the heart wants what the heart wants.
Yeah,
And then the
yeah,
heart and the penis are willing to be patient and play the long game.
Sure.
Somewhat, in modern day, that's called grooming. Still not
Yes.
good, but but a lot of these letters they found from Prince, which were unique for how they used Prince's signature, symbolic rebus style writing,
Sure,
where
yeah.
he'd substitute a
heard-
drawing of an eye for writing I, as in I, picture of an eye, saw you at Applebee's, and I'd like to get to know you better. All these letters had seen the light of day, but we got access. They hadn't seen the light of day, but we got access to some of them, which we'll read samples of for you right now. Dear baby goat, it's me, Prince. I don't know if you remember me from the petting zoo. I can never tell if you saw me or noticed me, because your eyes are sort of on the sides of your head, and they mostly do this thing where they look all weird and crazy, but I sure noticed you. I want to stroke you and pet you until the cows come home. And then we can do a group thing with them too. Oh, baby goat, I know you're just a kid. Literally, you're
Nice
called a kid.
kid.
But I don't
Yeah.
care what the world thinks. I want to bathe you in the waters of Lake Minnetonka, because you kind of smell like
Or just we got my dearest immature cheddar cheese. I saw you in the cheese and dairy aisle at Gelson's. I know you're only a 2 or 3 year age cheddar cheese, but I can't stop thinking about how I'd love to take you home. I want to put toothpicks in you and impress all my friends. I know some people out there wouldn't approve or they're lactose intolerant, but I think it's fine as long as you use protection, like lactate, and stay near a toilet. You're worth it, underage cheddar cheese.
even in the grocery store. Dearest young Frankenstein, it's me, Prince. I saw you at the Black, just because it's got the name Young in it. I saw you at the Blockbuster video. You're my favorite Mel Brooks movie. I want to buy a copy of you, so I never have to give you back to the video store, and I can have you for my own. I know you're in black and white, so you seem more mature than you are, but I know you're silly and playful, and that's what I love about you.
That's silly. And then when he would quote unquote get these women, then he was described as alternately, cruel or diminishing, as a kind of way of keeping them down and controlled and under wraps. But then other women, your Carmen Electras, your vanities, your whatever, were like, yeah, but he also empowered me, and he had this Svengali energy. Yeah, but he built up my sense of self, or who knows what I would have been, or I would have been nothing were it not for Prince. It's all like it again. It's all murky. We won't have seen collectively this Netflix doc to kind of have it, all come out. But, like the letter writing campaign, this girl, Mache Garcia, Prince met and coveted, quote unquote, coveted or courted her at 16. So he was 35 years old. She was 16 years old. He had seen her like, belly dancing or whatever. And then he started like writing her letters. And, down the road, I don't think, like, down the road, they got married and he was, actually with her for a period of time. But,
Mm.
like there's something in even just that for people. Like we were describing the Michael Jackson thing, and he was in his mid 30s and there were teens in his bed. Well, and this is not an uncommon Jerry Lee Lewis, Chuck Berry, name one, like all of these, guys, Anthony Kiedis from the, Red Hot Chili
Mm.
Peppers, like these guys who like were with inappropriately young girls.
Which like every song from the 50s is like, damn, she's only 16 though. Like I really want to bang her. Oh, she's only 16. She's only 16, but I'll be waiting around. Like there's so many songs of artists that I absolutely love, and they're beautiful songs, but they're like so much is like, oh damn it. Only a few more years.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, if I wanted to hide out from people like ladies that I feared might come back to accuse me of things, and be after my pot of gold, I say that because Prince, he's not a mixed race leprechaun. It's just like to illustrate that, like,
He's a tiny human.
he is a tiny human. But if I wanted to flummox people coming after my stuff, um, and coming after me for things that I'd done as a younger man, it'd be a pretty ingenious little ploy, by the way, just legally, to legally change my name to like squiggle question mark bicycle emoji, like Prince when he changed his name, like if you were running from the law, like if I wanted to like run from the law, one of my moves might be like they'll never find me or whatever, and then suddenly my name is just like emoji for
Yeah.
emoji for coconut water, and like like
Yeah.
then they're like, yeah.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, they can't come after you.
Yeah.
They're like, excuse me, sir, we have a warrant for Prince's arrest. No Prince here, only only eggplant water, eggplant tongue emoji.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
all.
Exactly.
That's all here. Sorry, you got the wrong place, fellas.
I'm just saying that's some three-dimensional chess type evasive maneuvers. That's a Kobayashi Maru maneuver. As far as Prince goes, and in particular parsing out whether he's just a creative genius weirdo, like arguably most, if not all, creative geniuses are, or if he was indeed a bad or terrible person, I'd only say, like, if the stories and the anecdotal reports from this doc, that I've read every piece about this doc that came out, um, if they in this day and age, had gotten out, it's pretty certain he would have been posthumously canceled, whatever the hell that means. And in that respect, the keepers of the Prince estate might have been right. I don't know, or justified in having it buried, because this prestigious, globally accessible 9-hour series on the most ubiquitous streaming service, it would have been seen, and people would now have Prince as this, idea in their heads. And, I don't know, it would have reminded people that while he was indisputably like, this weirdo who'd like only talk to people through an intercom in the wall and fascinatingly, was an effed up weird dude, we're gonna run through a whole bunch of stories about stuff that he did. He was also a bona fide genius, and they would have seen that, and it would have refreshed their idea of, well, that and him in that respect. It was the kind of genius that even other geniuses, by the way, bandmates, other masterful musicians he played with, uh, that even other geniuses kind of recognized and deferred to as genius. There's a clip. It's funny. It's like almost like one of John's go-tos. There's a clip where they showcase it in the documentary, but it's also just searchable online if the documentary never comes out. It's of a famous guitar solo, and in the doc, there's a whole piece that they do about it. And John has shared this repeatedly. It's been viewed, this clip, on YouTube more than 29 million times. It's from 2004, and it's the night Prince is being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And though Prince was being honored, and it's the night you'd think that he'd let his guard down, instead, Prince is harboring a grudge. So the doc speaks to, and one of his friends explains, uh, Prince is harboring a grudge from being left off Rolling Stone's list of greatest guitar players of all time. Like Prince was a little like Michael Jordan in that way. Like his friends all said like he ran on spite and revenge. Like it just fueled him. Like he's like Michael Jordan. He'd like if somebody slighted him, it like bulletin board and then he'd forever store it away. And so during a performance of While My Guitar Gently Weeps, in tribute to the Beatles' George Harrison, who was also being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, as Tom Petty and Jeff Lynne from ELO and Steve Winwood and a bunch of guitar rock royalty are on stage, Prince walks out of the wings in a black suit and a red bowler hat tilted over his eyes and plays this guitar solo that all the other players just had to shake their heads in disbelief and admiration.
It is one of the best, and George Harrison's son is playing acoustic guitar in it, and he's just playing the chords, and you see him going like, everybody's like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah. Everybody just looking around going like, I don't remember this in sound check, but this guy is freaking genius.
Yeah.
Prince's close friend would say that Prince would then watch that clip, that performance of himself over and over and over again. So like of the 29 million YouTube views, I don't know, like 500, 1,000, 2,000.
Easily.
Maybe Prince himself just goosing his numbers. Yeah.
Smart.
But yeah, like, pardon the expression, but like about guys like this as well, this doesn't make somebody a bad person, but it's definitely a through line with all these types. I honestly don't think that to cultivate that level of kind of confidence and regard and whatever, like you got to really love the smell of your own farts a little more than most. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And to that point, there's a famous story about Aziz Ansari, another famously canceled comedian and artist, as it happens, that he used to tell in his stand-up specials. It's of meeting and being invited back to Kanye West's place after a show, just like Prince sitting and watching his own YouTube video. In this piece, it's about how he got to Kanye's house after this show when he was invited to hang out with Kanye, only to find Kanye alone listening to his own record like over and over again and like nodding his head and like really, really into it.
Yo, man, are you listening to your own album in your own house, bopping your own head?
Which brings us to, if we're clustering these folks together in this first bit, which brings us to Kanye West, who might be this generation's Michael Jackson or Prince, but with a Twitter account and a light himself on fire level, just to have people come watch me burn level crazy streak.
There's ultimately nothing that we or anyone could say about Kanye West that could be as damning and as bewildering and fascinating, as mystifying as what Kanye himself has
Everybody
said.
says, who does he think he is? I just told you who I thought I was. A guy.
Amen. As opposed to past artistic giants of their time, Kanye isn't about maintaining an air of mystery or conjuring an impenetrable mystique around himself. Because as opposed to Prince or Michael Jackson, Kanye West is an artist in the age of social media. So whether it's a clip from some interview on a podcast or a more direct communication like a post or a tweet directly from the inner workings of Kanye's beautiful, dark, twisted brain, let's run through a small sampling of the things that Kanye has said, written, done, posted, or tweeted in some public forum or another.
Awesome.
Here's Kanye in his own words. Whew. So buckle up.
Okay.
Said Kanye. Hitler had a lot of redeeming qualities. I like Hitler. I love Jewish people, but I also love Nazis.
Sure. Or what I like is, or I'm a racist. Stereotypes exist for a reason, and they all be true. By the way, speaking of racism, is it a racist decision that I just made in that split second to do Kanye voice? Or is
I think
it
Kanye
fine?
approves.
I think I'm just doing
Kanye
his
approves.
voice. But I was like,
I
wait,
think you're doing the.
literally as I
you're
said the word,
doing-
I'm a racist, and then I said it in a Kanye voice. It made me laugh because I was like, wait,
He
that might be
approves this
racist.
message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, stereotypes
To my
exist for a reason.
fans.
They all be true. Yeah.
To my fans, thank you for being loyal and patient. I can't finish the album because there's a bee in the studio. That's a good one.
Sometimes I think that sometimes I think again, like the line between madness and genius, like in his other work, but sometimes I'm like, there is a genius to his writing. Anyway, um, sometimes I push the closed door button on people running toward the elevator. I just need my own elevator sometimes.
These are thoughts that he thought to put out to the world.
Yeah, sure. But also, he's like, maybe he's explaining to some dude who just like, the elevator face of like when you see somebody, the kind of outraged but like confused look where you see somebody deliberately close the door as you're moving toward the
Yeah.
elevator. And he's like,
Yeah.
that's to him, that's his reply to that person. He just tweeted back right to their
Yes.
face as the door
And
closed.
Kanye's delusional enough to think that every person in the world follows him.
Well,
So this is going to get to that guy.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
The great sage Kanye said, "There's so many lonely emojis."
Sure, yes. It's true. The unused emojis, the lesser used emojis. I hate when I'm on a flight and I wake up with a water bottle next to me. Like, oh, great. Now I got to be responsible for this water bottle.
These sound like Jack Handy's deep thoughts from fucking SNL.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's a comedy writer par excellence or whatever. And we're going
good
like
stuff.
It's some good stuff. It's like it's a real. This seems authentically weird, crazy person. So like hats off.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How about I'm gonna fix wolves.
I don't
Wolves
know if
need
he's saying,
fixing.
I'm gonna
Kanye's on
fix
it.
wolves like the creature, or there was, I think, like doesn't he have a song on one of his records, or like maybe a Bon Iver collaboration where
like he's gonna fix the song.
yeah, or is he gonna fix the creature wolves? Both are very
Maybe,
possible.
maybe all of the above.
Yeah, maybe we don't see him in the pictures, but if we zoom out the pictures of the new dire wolves they just made, the like genetically altered dire wolves, we zoom out, we see Kanye in the background or whatever, but they don't want to lead with that he's key
He's
to
like George R. Martin. I got you. He's like, I read the Game of Thrones books. Now I realize my life's purpose.
Okay, so there's one where like speaking in defense of her then husband Kanye West going through like a difficult time, Kim Kardashian like tweeted out to the media trying to demonize my husband, saying he's erratic and labeling him as having mental issues. That is not fair. To which Kanye tweeted in reply, I'm nice at ping pong.
To which she went, you know what?
Yeah.
She should have, what was that called? Quote tweeted it and been like, my bad, y'all. Like it should have just been this like art inside of art inside of art.
Yeah, sure.
AIDS is a man-made disease placed in Africa, just like crack was placed in the black community to break up the Black Panthers.
Oh, nice. Was his dad was his dad or his mom? Am I confusing it? Either his mom
I think
or
his
dad
mom
was involved in his mom, right? In the Black
Yes.
Panthers? That's correct.
Yes, and he held his mom in very, very high esteem.
Yeah,
and-
huge.
like,
Yeah.
and
Some
I
say
think
that was
that was the thing that broke him. Right?
Yeah, broke him, and or like it's like literally suddenly you no longer have anybody keeping you grounded or tethering you. If he's Sandra Bullock in that movie Gravity, there's that one cord that's keeping her tethered to like the
Yeah.
ship or something, and like she's just like she goes and he's like free floating in space. Anyway,
It's like, Kanye, baby, I need to talk to you. He's like, what about mama? What are you going to do to wolves? What's wrong with wolves? God made wolves just fine. They don't need you. He's like, damn, you're right, mama.
Yeah.
Like she should have, she should have been like the buffer.
Big on
when
Bob,
that
though.
happened, I think he did legitimately
Oh yeah,
lose his shit.
I think that was. I think it's common. It's common knowledge, and pretty easy to see a demarcation line between this is when it totally went out. Speaking of God or whatever, Kanye tweeted, I am God's vessel. My greatest pain in life is that I will never be able to see myself perform. All right.
You can watch video, dude. I feel like
Yeah.
especially with those new goggles.
Oh,
like the
totally.
Facebook,
Yeah.
Apple goggles. You can be like you're there.
Just rent out the sphere or whatever and be like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, that's what it's like.
This is good.
Yeah.
Speaking of that plight, I need a room full of mirrors so I can be surrounded by winners. Now that's just a good fucking line.
Yeah.
This is the genius.
Well, that's just it. Like,
He's such a good
Mhm.
wordsmith. Like he's
Yeah.
really good with
Oh,
words.
yeah. God, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Or speaking of wordsmith, how about I own your child. Hashtag Wiz wears cool pants. Those
Two thoughts
Yeah. Two
that
thoughts
should have
that
not.
No, yeah.
That
Yeah.
no
All
one
right.
else's brain do those two thoughts intersect.
That's what I'm saying. Like he is the crazy chef who is like, I put these pickles and formaldehyde together in a sandwich, and you're like, I don't think those things are supposed to go together. But all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I made this meal that is you're gonna eat on a freezing cold ice thing that's gonna have smoke frames, and
Yeah,
also
yeah.
I put eel farts in it.
Yeah.
Enjoy. And you're like, what the fuck? I just ordered an Italian hero. What the hell, dude? I just want something simple. Okay. I'm not gonna act like I was influenced by it. This is Kanye, not me.
Sure.
please, by the
It
way.
did sound like you for a second.
Yes, I do hope that this stuff gets clipped and
Yeah,
comes out to
totally,
us.
totally.
Yeah, when somebody else does a podcast about us losing our shit.
Makes sense.
I'm not going to act like I was influenced by a fucking dog walking down the street that broke its ankle that I had a heartfelt discussion with.
Oh my God. I don't
Makes sense.
It's just the string of thoughts again. Or he also said, I am not a fan of books. I would never want a book's autograph. All right. Cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Any Jewish person that does business with me needs to know I don't like or trust any Jewish person. This is completely sober with no Hennessy. Some of my best friends are Jewish, and I don't trust any of them.
I like the
Man.
completely sober or whatever. Don't try to suggest this is just the in vino veritas or whatever. I'm stone sober as I'm saying this hate speech.
Yeah.
Or I have dominion over my wife. This ain't no woke ass feminist shit. All right. Okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I think that lines up with all of your interactions with women that I have observed.
This tracks. Speaking to the New York Times, Kanye said, I will be the leader of a company that ends up being worth billions of dollars because I got the answers. I understand culture and I am the nucleus.
Sure, you were the nucleus. Yeah, it's like the old Damon Wayans sketch where he was like the well-educated dude in prison who would like learn all the thesaurus words, and he's just like taken from the Latin word jalapeno, and then like, it's like, all right, way to use the word and concept nucleus, Kanye. I feel like you got your arms around that. You did fix wolves. And then Kanye also said, Kanye is going to mean something similar to what Steve Jobs means. I am undoubtedly Steve of internet, downtown, fashion, culture, period. All right. Okay.
Yeah. I've often said the same.
Yeah.
Speaking to God knows who, Kanye said, I know N-words thinking he talking all that shit on the internet, but he won't say it to my face. Why the fuck would I ever let you talk to me? You broke, you dumbass retards.
Oh, jeez.
That's
the
best.
Yeah, sure.
That is like, that's a kill shot.
Honestly, but also like, I feel like all of us, it's like when you see somebody dancing in the middle of the floor and it, like, say it was Michael Jackson level dancing, and it makes you not want to even dance. You're like, but what's the point of my dancing? This dude's doing it. I think everybody else should just pull off social media because he has demonstrated we are not doing it nearly to that level. So we should stop doing it. Yeah.
And this is an ongoing phenomenon. This Instagram and Twitter and social media stream continues to this day. Wolf Blitzer could jump in with breaking news of something Kanye West said or did any minute of it. Could have just a scroller of on the bottom. None of this includes recent Kanye having his teeth replaced or capped with titanium and platinum dentures.
Yes, I've seen it.
James Bond henchman.
Yep,
for a very reasonable cost of $850,000.
Sure, but if your teeth can bite through a car door or whatever, and is that worth it? Maybe.
Or Kanye West pushing a recent now ex-girlfriend to stand on a red carpet in a completely see-through dress, bearing her entire naked body for the cameras and the viewing public, while he stood beside her looking furious. I'm showing y'all my wife's boobies and cooter, and I couldn't be more angry about it.
So
That's like pantsing your spouse or partner in the public, in like the most public forum possible, and then getting them to agree to it.
Yeah, it's totally that. It is like what he's that tweet about having dominion over women or whatever, or just like having women who agree to give up their free will or to stand naked in thing, and then like other people. I think he's separated from her, but I remember seeing that picture and going like, "This seems like the foundation of a solid marriage and relationship."
Yeah. I think
Somebody,
I saw a picture of like a dinner party they had
uh-huh.
where it was like 10, 12 people, and it was at their house.
Yep.
It was at a house or their house.
Yep.
And she was like completely naked. And then everybody else was like
Yeah.
just in clothes. And
Uh-huh.
and I remember in the picture I was like, nobody thinks this is like a thing. Like nobody's even acknowledging it. It's not like some people are half clothed. It was like a nudist colony or
Mhm.
whatever. Like it was like, no, she was just like butt ass naked, chopping, like, serving turkey to everybody. And it's like,
because
yeah.
because everybody's so uncomfortable because it's like she's being publicly shamed, but
Yeah.
she's there for it, which is to say like she's like, yeah, this is the trade-off or whatever. Like
Yeah.
so it's like she's being
This is the
publicly
trade
shamed.
off for this awesome life.
Yeah,
With
it's
this
like she
psycho, this insane person I live with.
yeah. Ugh.
Ugh.
Yeah.
We could add more batshit crazy things, but I think
Yeah,
the
we
point
could.
is that this dude, though indisputably talented and prolific,
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
really, I mean,
True.
you like it does break my heart to go back to the early Kanye stuff, like when he was just coming out, and I remember seeing for the first time when Jay-Z brought him out at a concert,
Mhm.
and he was going from this producer to
Yep.
this rapper, and I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, wow, that guy's really good.
Mhm.
And then like Through the Wire was phenomenal, and you're
Yep.
like so rooting for this guy.
Mm.
And then it just went like, whoa, that shit. I mean, it's like it's gonna go down as like it's gonna be a fascinating thing that people will study for
Oh,
years
well,
and years and years.
they made a Netflix doc, but there's a Netflix long documentary series of this that
Mm.
at some point will be because there's so much footage and so many clips as this is what we're talking about, that like he is of the age of social media. So somewhere with all of this stuff, somebody who just is wanting to tell this long story will like paint this portrait of that will be fascinating. Fucking it is fascinating.
Yes,
Anyway,
it's fascinating.
yeah.
Nothing he can say or do now would surprise anyone. So he has to
No.
keep it going to greater and greater lengths to hold
Yeah.
our attention. And would you believe it if you saw that Kanye convinced new and impressionable young girlfriend to let him light her on fire for an Instagram story?
Yeah, I
Why
believe it.
not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you be so surprised if Kanye West went to a concert and started taking dookies in his hand and flinging them out into the crowd like a turd distributing t-shirt cannon, and
Yep.
people were going nuts for it?
Yeah, sure.
Yep, totally believe it.
They're fighting each other
Uh,
for the turd, like you know how you fight each other for a
Yeah.
t-shirt or whatever. They're like they're
Yeah.
stealing the turd from a kid who caught it, and yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Kanye West is not a well man. We can all agree.
yeah.
He's entered the Emperor Nero playing the fiddle while Rome burns era of his artistry, which could very possibly be his next music video with actual real life arson and everything.
I could totally see that. Yeah. Well, those look like real frames. I would
Mhm.
I would earnestly though put I was talking about Prince releasing like a decade of perfect records. I would put Kanye's run of records from 2004, his debut, College Dropout, through the 2000s, you know, late registration, graduation, all the way through. I'd argue all the way up to Yeezus in 2013. Like, I would put that up there. That's a Michael Jackson or Prince level run of timeless, iconic, genius level music.
Hmm. Completely changed
Yeah.
the sound
Yeah.
of hip hop.
Yeah.
It was so original. It was
Yep.
so good.
Mhm.
And part of it, I know you'll get into this, but he believed in himself
Oh my God.
and would tell you how much he believed in himself
Yeah.
over and over and over. And it was part of it. I mean, I guess that's a through line. It's like it's infectious until it's not. And then it's like, all right, dude, we get it. You
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're a fan of yourself. We get
Mhm.
it. But it's like, but at the time, it's like, man, it's just so good. I mean, he was so good.
Mm.
And to hear you know, when how he started, and like I love that whole beginning,
Mhm.
and then through the wire. It was just so good. It was
Yeah.
just, it really was. That was an unprecedented.
Yeah.
I mean, in that world, like just such a run.
Yeah. Well, like when the Rolling Stones, like Prince's greatest guitar, guitarist of all time lists, when the Rolling Stones of the world do their lists of 100 greatest this and all time greatest that, he will be on it. That's the only point that needs to be made. And so a few years back, unlike Prince's, documentary, the Kanye West Netflix doc made it through. It was called Genius, but like spelled Jeenyuhs, Genius. Um, but like the doc that follows Kanye West with a camera going back, it goes back like 21 years or so, following Kanye with a camera. Uh, it's showcasing someone, in the case of Kanye, very different from Prince, who was intimately aware of the constant camera presence and helping build, like we were just talking about, his own mythology. And the difference is that Kanye, to this very day, um, cannot turn away from the omnipresent eye of the camera or this like thirst for attention. Honestly, I'll just say it's weirdly fitting that in 2020, Kanye West announced that he was running for president and asked Donald Trump to be his running mate. That would be quite the ticket, by the way. And
Yep.
once again launched a campaign to run for president in 2024, wherein he went on a lot of podcasts and shows saying some equally wild shit, anti-Semitic shit, right-wing shit, like just crazy town. In
Mhm.
2023, though, he, at least temporarily, recanted his anti-Semitic comments after seeing Jonah Hill's performance in the film 21 Jump Street. So he was like, "Oh, I turned around on Jewish people," which I think,
That's what did it.
which I
That's a
think,
good movie.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
pretty funny. I watched it recently.
Yeah.
It's actually, they hold up. They're funny.
I think it's actually similar to how Jimmy Carter negotiated the brokered peace in the Middle East. I think he showed Anwar Sadat Gene Wilder movies, and he was like, "See, Jews can be funny."
He's
Boom.
like, you got a good point.
Yeah. He's like, look, Kanye West might not get my vote. I don't have a vote in U.S. elections, but I haven't actually heard his healthcare plans though, so I might still though not vote for him. I don't get a vote, but
Yep.
when the opening to Power by Kanye West kicks in, I'm not thinking about any of that stuff. Something else in me is reacting. I'm just a human man. Something else in me is reacting to this.
I miss the old Kanye, chop up the soul Kanye, straight from the gold Kanye, ill with the flow Kanye. I hate the new Kanye, the always rude Kanye, the bad mood Kanye, spazzing the news Kanye. I miss the old Kanye, kicking the flows Kanye. Where all the thoughts at, yeah? I miss the old Kanye. You know we love Kanye. You used to love Kanye. You had the pink polo on. You thought you was Kanye. We still love Kanye. That's all it was, Kanye. Well, guess what? I love you like Kanye loves Kanye.
So if you dug or got anything out of or found funny the show you just heard, John and I put in a lot of time and effort and care in making it. And all we'd ask is that if you got a laugh or found it interesting or liked a certain part, that if there's anybody out there in the world, multiple people that you think might dig it and get a laugh and find it interesting, then share it with them. And, maybe give us a rating and review while you're at it. We'd love that.
So on the next episode, in part 2, we talk about terrible artists throughout history, never meeting your heroes, true stories that don't always go as planned, and great people but terrible art.
See you next week.